Now I would like to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Sergey Vasilyevich Vershinin, the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. You have the floor, Excellency.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Friends, colleagues. I'm very pleased to be with you today to participate in this very important, regular discussion, but important discussion of this situation, first and foremost from a humanitarian point of view, that we are seeing today in Syria. I think that the exchange that we will have today will enable us to have a better knowledge of all of the aspects of the situation and to look at it in the way that we should, from the point of view of the Security Council, to take an objective and impartial view. I thank the Assistant Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, Ms. Muller, for her briefing on the situation in Syria. I'd like to say at the outset that we share the concerns about the situation in and around Idlib. In November 2018, the influence of the radicals from Hayat Tahrir al-Sham spread across 60% of the territory of the Idlib zone of de-escalation. Currently, the terrorists control 99% of the territory of this zone. The aggressive action of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham includes bombardment of towns and positions of the Syrian government forces. This threatens the civilian population and leads to the deaths of citizens, including women and children. In April and May of 2019, Russia identified 398 violations of the ceasefire on the side of the fighters in the Idlib demilitarized zone. As a result of the bombardments by terrorists, in this period 76 people died and 194 Syrian military personnel were injured, 19 were killed and 42 civilians were injured. I'm giving you this data and I'll give you others so that it's clear that we're talking not about specific statements but about people who are dying at the hands of terrorists. Attacks are continuing with the use of multiple rocket launchers and combat drones against Russian military facilities in Syria. There's a direct threat to the security of Russian military personnel who are in Syria on the basis of the law. In the last month alone, the base Khmeimim was 7 times bombarded by terrorists. On the 19th of May, the anti-aircraft system at the base shot down 6 rockets and destroyed 2 combat drones. On the 21st of May, fighters from an illegal armed group 4 times bombarded Khmeimim base from a rocket launcher system. 17 rockets were launched, and on the 22nd of May there was the latest attack when 4 rockets were launched. Terrorists are carrying out aggressive activity from the south of the de-escalation zone in Idlib, and in April 2019 there were 3 such attacks, but in May already there were 18 of them. You can judge for yourselves. The fighters from HTS are terrorizing civilians, and they're using civilian infrastructure for military ends and also using civilians as a human shield. They're not picky about their targets. So, on the 12th of May, as a result of attacks by the terrorists on a preschool education center in Skalbia, a Christian town in the northwest of Hama, 4 children and a woman died, and around 10 children were injured. Yesterday, the same town and also the town Mkharda were twice attacked. There were people injured, and there was significant damage to civilian infrastructure. In answer to these aggressive attacks, the Russian aerospace forces are providing the necessary support to the Syrian government forces to force terrorists out of the regions that are used to bombard Russian bases and the positions of the Syrian Air Force, and to undermine the terrorist activity in the south of the Idlib zone of de-escalation. According to intelligence data, in all of the areas where there is military activity, the Syrian armed forces are facing illegal armed groups from Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. as we know, this means we're talking about terrorists. Attacks on terrorist attacks, we are trying to deal with the situation. Having said that, the Russian party is committed to the agreement on stabilization in Idlib and the Russian-Turkish memorandum of the 17th of September 2018. We recall that this states the need for the participants to continue the fight against terrorists. President, we're particularly concerned by the efforts of terrorist leaders to exacerbate the situation using fake news, including on the alleged use of chemical weapons by the government forces. According to the information we have, within HTS, to stage chemical attacks, there is a separate structure that is called the chemical wing. This division is headed by Abul Basir al-Britani, who's from the group connected with Al-Qaeda, Khuras al-Din. The head office of Chemical Wing deals with planning, operations and coordination of staged filming of such fake attacks, and this is in Idlib. The fighters make fake news to be used in the media, which is then taken up by the Western media. Thus, on the 19th of May, the terrorists stated that allegedly there had been use of chlorine by Damascus near Kaban, which is in the Latakia province hills. Once again, we draw the attention of the UN Secretariat and specialized agencies of the organization and also all colleagues to the need to carefully check any information that comes in. President, on the basis of the alarmist statements we've heard about Idlib, or on the background of this, and the Security Council and the worrying situation on the eastern bank of the Euphrates, which is not under the control of the Syrian government, we see that there's a growth of tension there, and that we need to avoid this large-scale escalation and to make sure we have a process of national reconciliation, which is possible only through ending the illegal international occupation headed by the United States and establishing dialogue between the local communities' leaders with the heads of the Syrian Arab Republic. We should pay very close attention to the situation in Raqqa, Hajin, Baghouz, and in all towns which thus far have been in a parlous state and are not appropriate for civilian life. We must keep our focus of our joint work on what's happening in Al-Hol, the camp, where there's a catastrophic situation. There, as has already been said today, more than 73,000 people are living in very difficult conditions, and of these, more than 47,000 are children under the age of 18. Al-Hol is seeing a severe shortage of water and food, medical personnel, medicines, and medical services. There's not the opportunity to comply with basic personal hygiene there, and therefore infectious diseases are spreading like wildfire. Norms on the deployment of people have been undermined, and more than 15,000 people have had to live in tents and in inappropriate conditions. We think it's important to voluntarily disband the Rukban camp as quickly as possible. It would be amoral to undermine this process. States that have an influence on the fighters from Maghavir Asara should apply pressure to them so that they end their terrorizing of IDPs and allow them to leave the camp. Since the end of March, more than 13,000 people have left Rukban. The majority of them have also left the temporary points in Homs and have returned to their regions, which are under the control of the Syrian government. Incidentally, at the beginning of May, these places were visited by representatives of the UN specialized agencies, in particular the OCHA, which was able to verify that there are the necessary conditions to receive refugees in these places. President, the international community should support the stabilizing processes in Syria, which will allow us to move towards a political settlement and to improve the humanitarian situation. Russia will make its contribution, and we're not trying, and we will not try to politicize the humanitarian matters. Russian assistance on the territory of Syria since 18th of July 2018, we've seen 856 education institutions re-established, 168 medical facilities. We've repaired 5 road bridges and more than 1,000 kilometers of road. We've laid more than 968 kilometers of power lines. We've brought online 143 water treatment works, 196 bakeries, 645 electricity substations, 14,305 5 industrial enterprises. We're also carrying out humanitarian actions and humanitarian demining. These figures, they're boring, but I just want to point out, or I'd also like to hear such boring figures from other friends and partners, because everything that is being done in the interest of improving the humanitarian situation in Syria. We call on all interested parties to join efforts. By talking, we can uproot terrorism, we can speed up the post-conflict reconstruction, and can support the voluntary return of refugees and IDPs. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm paying very close attention to everything that is said here. We understand that partners are concerned. I'd like to say that what the distinguished assistant said, Ms. Muller, what she said was very important. The simple questions that she put at the end of her statement on what we need to do to protect civilians, it's clear that these require our thinking and our immediate action. I also have simple questions to this end. So what can we do and what must the Security Council do so that millions of people that we're talking about today in Idlib are no longer the hostages of terrorists? And so that the terrorists, I don't think anybody doubts that we're talking about terrorists. I listened very closely as well to the distinguished representative of Belgium, who spoke on behalf of the humanitarian troika alongside other countries, and the interesting thoughts that we certainly should consider without question. But I also have questions. When it is said that all parties in Idlib should, as an obligation, fulfill international humanitarian law and comply with it, of course, I'd like to clarify, what parties are we talking about? About the government, I understand that. The opposition, I understand that. But are we talking also about the 99% of the territory in Idlib that, as I've said, is controlled today by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and that is on the list of terrorist organizations of our council? Well, this causes questions for me. Should terrorists, or can they, and can we even say that terrorists are obliged to do something under international humanitarian law? Thank you very much.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Vershinin for his statement.